And the main question will be, yes, when that engine comes into the NS format, is this motorcycle ready to accept that 373cc? What's up YouTube, welcome to the review of the Pulsar NS400Z. So yes, of course, I have to admit that this is the fastest Pulsar ever. So let's see whether this is the practical Pulsar ever or the stable Pulsar ever. So welcome to the review. So first of all, I've been riding this motorcycle for a few days and clocking around 400 to 500 kilometers. So this is my experience riding this motorcycle in the city as well as on the highway. And the Pulsar actually always stands like a naked sport motorcycle for the street use. So Bajaj has just launched the biggest Pulsar that they can ever have, based on the 373 engine that we have seen with the previous Duke 390. I'm really thankful to Bajaj that they chose the 373 instead of the 399, because 399 is still going through that process of getting stable, but the 373 is always a stable engine. So I'm really happy that this bike got that engine. And so let me make it as concise as possible, and I'll quickly tell you whether this motorcycle suits your needs. First of all, the looks, it actually looks very good, the front section, but we have seen these kind of a altogether paint scheme and the front section in other Pulsar as well. So that's one reason why I got a lot of racing invites from some other motorcycles, for example NS200s, Dominars, MT15, R15, because I was riding on the highway and many people think that it's a 200cc Pulsar, and they were getting offended by the way how I overtake them. Then they come for a race and I was cruising at 140, 150 that speed, but the thing was they were not able to accept the fact that a Pulsar could go that fast, and I was getting a hell lot of racing competitions today. So look wise, I'm a bit disappointed that Bajaj hasn't done anything special on this motorcycle except the fact that they tried to retain that Pulsar DNA how it looks. But yes, it's a masculine look, it's a definitely male look, which I'm not being an MCP here, but definitely male is the tagline which has been used by the first Pulsars, like I think back in 1990s or so. So first of all, the front headlight, it looks very neat and good as well. I started liking this headlight once Bajaj launched this kind of a head section. I was a little disappointed, but this one looks killer in my opinion, and the headlight is also very good, the throw is very good, and we can see the upside down forks over here. The front forks, the front suspension is actually little onto a harder side. When we ride inside the city, we get a hit from the front suspension, we can get to feel that, and we get a disc brake in the front. And by the way, it's a dual channel ABS unit and it comes with MRF tires. Very bad feedback from the tire. And coming on to this section, yes, we have a very nice looking tank. The paint schemes are always nice. Bajaj has always nailed it when it comes to identify what the young crowd wants. So it looks really neat, and that kind of a frame which sees outside looks also nice. And we have the 373cc engine which has been there in the market for a very long time. The exhaust, actually it feels like the bike has lost the end can, so that's how always the Pulsar series are, but I feel like this could have had a longer exhaust. That would have made this motorcycle a little subtle, but it's a little louder as well. And the swing arm, I'm a little disappointed because it's a box type swing arm. They could have given a better design, because the stability also is not so good with this swing arm. Basically the motorcycle is very compact, the wheelbase is not that great, so you need a lot of stability from the bike. And the tail section also looks good, and the seating comfort is also good, little cushioned, it's okay. Here is the only place where we'll see the NS400. And let's get on to the motorcycle. So it's not at all a tall motorcycle. I have planted foot on both sides. You can see that I'm a short guy, and the tank looks puny, and the fact that the tank is actually puny, it's a smaller tank. We give a little bit of sportiness to the upper body and hold the handlebar. By the way, these mirrors looks much similar to the mirror that we have seen with the Dominar, but it's not so good using this mirror on this motorcycle. First of all, I think the positioning is a little to inward, so we don't have a good visibility, and the mirrors are actually very tight to use, especially while riding. And here we have a small USB charging socket. It's not a type C, it's a normal USB. It's okay, I mean, if you have to use your mobile phone while riding to navigate maps, you can have that. By the way, this has Bluetooth connectivity. So yes, it's a neat design. It's kind of readable in hard sun as well. So what we see over here is the regular details over here, and here we have a little bit of a calculator kind of a display which displays a lot of information. By the way, this motorcycle comes with 4 riding modes. Here we can see road, sport, rain and off-road. Basically this has impact on the throttle control and the ABS sensitivity and the traction control. By the way, this comes with a lot of tech, like dual channel ABS, traction control, that too switchable, and riding modes, slipper clutch. So it's a package by itself. Bajaj just nailed it. So here we see the tachometer, the gear position indicator, the time, the speedometer, the odometer, the riding modes, the fuel level indicator, and this one display the trips. Rather than the trip, I'll say that let's press this set button and we get the vehicle info. Inside that we can change the riding mode and we can switch the traction control. So this feels a little cumbersome because while riding we have to do 2 clicks to see the riding modes. So that's one thing, and then cut the throttle and we can change the riding mode. So it's little cumbersome to use while riding. So looking onto this side of the handlebar, here we have adjustable levers on both sides. So here we have high beam, low beam, and the pass switch, and this is somewhat similar that we have seen with the new generation Duke 390. Some inline 4 probably 10R. So damn. Distractions. Yeah, so this is the joystick control system, indicator and the horn, and on this side we have a caution lamp, and we have the engine kill switch, and we have a toggle DRL switch. So let's hear the exhaust sound. Let's ignore the inline 4 for now and let's hear what this motorcycle can offer. A very meaty exhaust note. I really like it. When we are riding it, it sounds a little louder. That I could know that from the faces of the car drivers that's there on the road, because they get to know that there's a fast bike coming in, a little louder bike coming in. So that's all about looking around. And if you ask me if there are any quality issues, yes, of course I see a lot of places where there are a little bit of rusting. For example, a little rust over here, and on the handlebar there I can see some rust. So a little bit of rusting issues is there, and plastic quality is what we have seen with the other Pulsars. They haven't improved anything and they haven't gone down, but altogether, yeah, a neutral kind of feel looking around. Now let's go for a ride and talk about the things later. Yes, we are back on road, so let's pull it hard. Yeah, it's essentially that old Duke 390 in the form of an NS. That's all. So the engine is super smooth, super cool, and super enthusiastic to rev around and vibe around. So you know, you'll never get bored of this engine. I'm actually a big fan of 373cc engine, especially the Gen 1, which was a bit hard to maintain as well as ride, but the feedback was really good. So this is the most sophisticated and the most advanced form of that 373cc. And the main question will be, yes, when that engine comes into the NS format, is this motorcycle ready to accept that 373cc? So let's get into that point. So as mentioned, engine is very enthusiastic, very powerful, not so beginner friendly, I have to admit that, because it's powerful. If you have to ride in the city, you might feel like you are shifting a little earlier, and the torque is good. You can actually ride inside the city. In the second gear or the third gear, you'll be much comfortable to ride it. And when it comes to the highway, doing a 120 to 140 is a piece of cake on this one. I think I did a 165 top in the morning. I didn't got an empty stretch of road, otherwise I would have pushed a little more. So engine is sorted. Let's talk about the main area whether Pulsar NS is ready to accept this 373cc. So yes, first let's talk about the riding ergonomic. So it's a Street Fighter kind of a format. So I'm sitting upright and I have a very good ergonomics. The seat is comfortable, not so comfortable for a long ride, but still comfortable. And I have a fairly upright riding posture, and there is a little bit of sportiness to the upper body. The footpeg is actually under the rider, so sometimes you'll feel that it's a race set footpeg, but no, it's not a race set footpeg. And the distance between the handlebar and the seat is not too much, and overall the wheelbase of the motorcycle itself is not. You can literally feel that when you're riding around, that it's a very smaller motorcycle. You can actually flick around inside the city very easily, and it's a lighter motorcycle as well compared to the Domina. It's much lighter to ride. So taking U-turns, riding inside city, it's not at all an effort to ride it. The one thing is, like as I mentioned, the tires are very bad. Riding inside city, going through potholes, everything gives a very bad vibe feel, because ABS is kicking in very early, traction control kicking in very early, and on this kind of highway, I mean, there are crosswinds. Actually, I'm switching from one lane to another. That's also one thing. And corner confidence is very less because of the tire. Tire is a big negative from my side. So if you're planning to buy this motorcycle, go for a good pair of tire. And coming on to suspension, the both ends are set to different settings. So the front suspension is a little to a harder side. When you go through potholes and all, you get a feel that kind of a smaller hit is coming, but it helps you in fast riding. When you're above 140 and all, it gives a little bit of confidence. And on the rear side, it saves your ass because it's a softer suspension set. Inside the city, it will give you comfort when you're going through bad patch of road, but when it comes to the highway, it's actually waving. I'm doing like this, almost I'm playing a salsa and going. And this crosswinds is a major issue on this motorcycle. I can feel that because the motorcycle is lighter, smaller, so easily affected by the crosswinds on high speeds. This speed is okay, 60 to 70 or even till 100 it is okay. And to talk about the gearbox and the clutch, the gearbox is good, it's precise, but I have a little bit of feel that there's a little bit of hardness to it. Even though it's crisp, the shifting is a little harder. And the clutch usage, it is good, it is very lighter, so you won't be having any trouble using it for a longer time. And there are not much heating issues. I have to admit that there is very less heating issue on this motorcycle. Probably it's very naked, and the heat is dissipating quickly. That might be the reason. And a little bit of vibration issues there. I could feel that on the foot peg, I could feel that on the handlebar, not much on the seat. And if I keep my hand over here, where exactly my knees come and hug the tank, at that place also I feel there are a lot of vibrations. Obviously this 373cc had a vibration issue, and when it comes to this smaller package, definitely it is actually echoing a little louder. And the braking is kind of okay, but again the tire confidence is actually killing it, because again the braking feels a little bad because of the poor gripping of the tire. So I'll say that braking is kind of okay. Switch to a new tire. Again, second time I'm telling that. It gives a very nice feel, you know, throttling, very accurate and crisp throttle. I get that good vibes of the KTM bike. And yeah, to talk about the ownership aspects of this motorcycle, it comes for 2.57 lakh on road Bangalore. So that's a huge value for money, because to get this kind of a motorcycle for that value is very nice. It's a powerful motorcycle. But the thing is, if you ask me if it's completely value for money, I'll say that it's value for money, but I see a lot of quality issues. Probably the welding and a little bit of these things could have changed. The rusting issues are there, and the plastic quality could have improved a little better. That's my personal feel. But for this price, again, when it comes for this price, I'll say that it's okay. I shouldn't complain on that. And the service intervals are like first service in 750 kilometers, and from then on once in 4,500 kilometers. And the free services will cost 1.5k rupees, and the paid service will be something around 2,000 to 3,000 rupees. And the mileage expectations are like 25 km per liter inside city, and a max of 30 km per liter on the highway. I don't think you'll be able to get a 30, because this is a super powerful, super engaging engine. So definitely those who ride this motorcycle will give a little bit of throttle to get that feel. You can again expect 25 or 26 on the highway. But the thing is, the actual mileage, I mean the tank range of this motorcycle is a bit less. Actually, I understand the fact that it's not mileage, it's fuel efficiency, but most of the time even I say that wrongly, that it's mileage. So mileage is basically how long this motorcycle can go, and that is the tank range. So tank range on this motorcycle is a little less. It's around 200 to 250 odd kilometers, that's all. So if you ask me whether it's a good buy, then I'll say that if you're upgrading from a 150cc motorcycle from an existing Pulsar or from an existing Bajaj or a TVS customer, you'll be very happy with the motorcycle. But if you are coming from Honda, Suzuki or a Yamaha, then you will feel that the motorcycle is a bit vibey. That feel is always there for these Japanese guys when they switch to these motorcycles. But anyway, it's a very good buy, it's a very good upgrade. If you are already on a 400cc, except the Enfield, there is no reason for you to upgrade on this motorcycle. You can see something bigger. So definitely it's not a beginner friendly motorcycle, and I have one request, that those people who are considered to be beginner or even experienced rider coming onto this motorcycle, please invest on good gears, because it's a faster motorcycle. Don't get into trouble and get a blame for this motorcycle. So buy good quality riding gears and ride it, because as I told today morning, I got a lot of racing requests from many people thinking that it's a 200cc Pulsar, and I was actually zooming through the highway, giving a flyby to them. So that's how I ride. I was on my speed, like 140 kilometer. But the thing is, others think that I'm on a racing spree and they wanted to race with me. So if you have someone who actually get triggers, first thing I'll say that don't get triggered. Second thing, always wear riding gears, because it's not the regular Pulsar that we have seen. So it's definitely the biggest Pulsar ever, the fastest Pulsar ever, and the best Pulsar ever. So altogether a positive feel if you're going to buy this motorcycle. If you ask me what are the negatives which I find with the motorcycle, as I said, crosswind issues are there, braking issues are there, tire is a big no, but you can actually replace it to something else. Tank range is a little less, and some rusting issues are also there. So that's my unbiased review on the latest Bajaj Pulsar NS400Z. So if you have any doubts about this motorcycle, do let me know in the comment section. If I know the answer, I'll definitely come back to you. And as always, show some love in the form of likes and comments. See you in the next video. Until then, bye bye. It's incredibly fast, man.